All right, we're recording. Welcome everyone to the Rink Rat Report Podcast. Recording this one Wednesday, December 13th, a little bit of a late one, as always, joined by Jason.
Yes, it's a late one, but it will be a good one. Good couple. I can't wait to get into the games this week, so I'll just stop talking and let you do your thing, and we'll get into the games.
We have 4 games to get into as well.
Yes.
The rare quadruple game set, because we've been doing 2 game sets for a long time. It feels like now. It feels like it's been like the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, but finally we get 4 games to get into, and a lot not just happened in the games, but a lot happened off the ice. A lot happened in terms of roster management and such, and illnesses and this and that, and father's trip. But so we'll get into all that. We're going to get into a little bit of Leafs prospects. A couple Leaf prospects made Team Canada for the World Juniors. That hasn't happened in a little while. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we're also going to get into, Jason, you had something else on the docket, and I'm a terrible host. And I forgot
some third line talk again for the 1,000th time, but I feel like it's something we need to talk to. Obviously, JT 1,000th point, and then if we have time, we might take a look at some goalies in case this Joseph Woll injury is no bueno.
Ooh, I think it'd be very interesting to get into more of the goalie talk, because do you go out and get another goalie? Do you it's
it's part of the question. I feel like
it is definitely a little bit of a conundrum for the Leafs right now. And we'll get into my thoughts on the goaltending, how the goaltending played this weekend, how the goaltending sits right now. But first, we want to give a big shout out to our friends at Manscaped. Santa baby, the season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have launched their 5th-generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year. Take care of your special snowflake with Manscaped and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code RINKRAT, that is RINKRAT, for 20% plus free shipping. That is 20% off, it should read, plus free shipping. Imagine that, a promo code 20% extra. You get to pay 20% more for this product. No, with Manscaped, you get 20% off. The Lawnmower 5.0 is out. I highly recommend that one. They got a little light on the razor too, so you can shave in the freaking dark for all you care without taking off anything down there. But manscaped.com, promo code RINKRAT. Shall we get into the games?
Let's do it.
A very interesting mixed bag. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start most recent, or do you want to start Ottawa all the way on Thursday? I thought Ottawa, it feels like Ottawa happened 4 weeks ago.
That's the thing. Let's get into the most recent because it's the most fresh in our mind. Then we'll kind of conglomerate everything after that.
So the most recent one, the most recent game, I'm itching to get into this one.
Yeah.
I was listening a little bit, Toronto media, radio, whatever. And I know I complain a lot about it. Some of it had some good points, whatever. What was off about it, though, and what's been off about quite a bit of this, the Leafs, on the latter half, let's laundry list out everything right now.
I like this.
Latter half of a back-to-back, the second game of a back-to-back in New York. New York's an exceptional team this year. Are they first in the Metro, or are they?
I think they were first when we played them. I don't know if they're still first now.
Probably, because it's not
still first now. Yes, they're first by a landslide. New York,
Metro.
1 and 2, by the way.
Exactly. Playing some good hockey too recently. The Rangers have been, no?
Very good. Oh yes, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
The first in the Metro, 6-4 in their last 10, so not too bad. Right? So let's count it out. Latter half of a back-to-back. Playing the New York Rangers, who are first in the Metro. The flu bug went through the Leafs room. So bad that Matthew Nyes couldn't play, so knocks out a top 6 guy. Not that you already have God knows how many defensemen injured. Your starting goalie is injured. So you are playing on the latter half of a back-to-back against the team that is first place in the Metropolitan with your third string goalie in net and missing a top 6 winger, and you won 7-3. You were up 4-1 after the first period. Do you think with all that laundry list, that avalanche on top of them, what do you think the sentiment was after that game?
I cannot wait to talk about what the sentiment was.
Boring. I could not believe nobody was excited about that win. I have not seen anyone, I've not heard anyone talk with any ounce of excitement from that win. I realize it's December. I realize that's a regular season win. But did you hear all of the adversity, everything they had to overcome just to pull out 2 points there? That would have been the easiest mail it in game up. We don't have it tonight. Everyone's sick. Guys that were playing in that game were very sick. And that was from Mike Johnson. He said, Matthew Nyes is extremely sick. There are a lot of guys in this game that are only very sick. And the Leafs won 7-3. We complained that they don't get up for midweek games. It was a sleepy Thursday game. It was a tired Thursday game. That's apparently only on home ice, though, because they played for how much was against them. They played a pretty damn good game, and we have to give them credit for that. And you know who showed up the most in that game? Your top 4 guys. Marner, 2 goals. Matthews, 2 goals. I'm sure Nylander had a couple points in there. He had at least 1, I would say. John Tavares had a point at least in that one as well. And you know what? On top of all of that, Martin Jones had a solid game, I would say. That's your third string goalie that has a sub 900 save percentage in the AHL. He was above expected according to ClearSight in terms of his goals saved above expected. I think he was 3.91 for New York according to ClearSight, and he let in 3. It's like a 0.91 up. First NHL start since last March. Not bad. Why are we not more excited about that? Why are we allergic to being not excited about this Leafs team because they're not winning games properly?
I feel like it's twofold. I feel like one, it's because we've been spoiled, for lack of a better term, over the last couple of years with like immense regular season success, right? We're expected to win. We're expected to win at a minimum 66% clip. We win 2/3 of our games. That's what, like, okay, maybe not 2/3 exactly, but around that range, right? That's what we're expecting.
Points in 2/3.
Point percentage, exactly, to be at, right? That's what we're expected from this team, which is not normal, by the way. That's something that's not normal. Like, a lot of teams, like, again, you look around the league, there's teams struggling
on aggregate
everywhere
in the regular season. Who has been a better team than the Leafs on aggregate over the last, we'll say, since the 2021 season? So that weird bubble season. Since that season onwards, who has been on aggregate a better regular season team than the Leafs?
Maybe just the Bruins, but like I still feel like they had
Bruins,
1 year
maybe
where they
the
almost
Avalanche.
missed the playoffs. Yeah, Avalanche as well. Like the Lightning haven't been that good. Maybe Hurricane again. Like it's the fact that we can't, like, the Leafs are the answer. Like, that's the team that's been the most consistent. And people are gonna like laugh at this, clip this, old tape, whatever, make fun of this, but it's like, it's true. Like, we've been good in the regular season. You know what? If you want to laugh about that, that's fine, but that's just a fact, right? So that's one part of it. It's the spoiled, like, I don't want to say spoiled, but like, we're just used to it. It's routine at this point. The other part is I think people were really excited to say, once again, this team has no heart. This team can't close out games. This team always blows the lead. And I think a lot of people in that second period were excited because the Leafs went up 3-0 and then, 3-0 and then 3-1,
4-1.
Worst
lead in hockey.
It was 4-1. It was 4-1. And then they gave up 2 in the second, right? So people were kind of itching to be like, okay, like, look, this team has the heart. It's the same old Leafs team. And I think that's why people weren't really talking about it, because that's the narrative they wanted to run with going into the third period. But then we just blew the Rangers out of the water, scoring 6 goals against one of the best goalies in the NHL, Igor Shesterkin. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to be excited about. Listen, you just put 6 by Igor. The power play looks good. Like, the entire team looked good. I get it. We didn't have a good second period there, but I mean, it's funny because people could have ran with the narrative if they lost this game that they had no heart, no pushback. But then they literally just in the third period did that. So I don't know. It's sad to see that that's kind of the sentiment around the team, that it's just tired and boring again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is December, and that's just kind of the general sentiment around the team that it's December. We're 35 games in. We know what's going to happen from here on out. So maybe that's the sentiment, but
yeah.
I don't know.
But here's the other
pretty
thing.
pumped after the win.
Here's the other thing. That wasn't their most well-rounded game this week. That came on Saturday. A 4-0 win. They gave up less than 20 shots. They gave up 18 shots total to the Nashville Predators. Oh, it's the Nashville Predators. They're in 4th in the Central. They are 16-13-0. That team's 7-3 in their last 10. They've won their last 2 games right after the Leafs. And the Leafs blew them out of the water. It was not close. They played awesome in that one. And then you know what? They scrounged through 3 more points. They got 3 more points during this on Monday and Tuesday against the Islanders, who are also playing some good hockey, despite they've got 4 defensemen out right now. It's ridiculous. And then the Rangers, who are also playing some pretty good hockey. So
yeah. And just to extend from that, 3 points on a back-to-back is successful. I don't care what anyone says. Even doesn't matter if the 2 points come on the latter half of the back-to-back. 3 points is successful. And sorry to cut you off here, but if you want to continue, I just wanted to quickly touch on the Islanders game, because I feel it wasn't obviously the best game that the Leafs played, but I really feel like that the goal, I don't know, I don't want to throw it on Samsonov, but I feel like Samsonov just doesn't look good. I've kind of been waiting for him to turn it around, but this was another instance of those games where it's when is this turnaround going to happen, right? We're now 35, 36, 37, 38 games in.
We're 20 soon.
Sorry, I'm thinking points. You're 20. Yeah, we're 20 games in. Oh my God. We have 35 points. That's the late night pods kill me. 26 games in. It's just, when is he going to do it? There's 2/3 of the season left for him to do it. If he's this is right now is his opportunity to run away with the starts. Right now, I wouldn't be shocked if as a result of this Joseph Woll injury, if we just swap back and forth between Martin Jones and Ilya Samsonov based on the last 2 games that were played right now. Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't be shocked if Jones starts Thursday. I think they're going to go back to Samsonov, but I wouldn't be shocked if they go back to Jones. I mean, he played pretty well. Samsonov didn't play that well.
I think Samsonov gets the shot next game, but if it's if he doesn't have a good game, then it's going to be Jones next, and it's going to be a back and forth thing where we're not just only going to see it as a result of it being a back-to-back. We're going to be seeing it because Sheldon Keefe is we saw last year with Matt Murray. He does not want his goaltendings kill coaches. Goaltending kills coaches. That's usually what does coaching in. Is a lot of times is a bad string of goaltending and an unfortunate on ice shooting percentage for the team, and that usually just craters coaches. That's what happened. And I think Sheldon Keefe is aware of that.
Paul Maurice with the Leafs.
Exactly. He will not let a bad stretch of bad goaltending put his job at risk, right? And I think his job is actually decently at risk here because this, I don't know if it depends how much this it's new management. It's hard to tell, but it depends how much this management is paying attention to the outside noise of the team, right? Because you know what? You can be critical of this team. They don't have a lot of regulation wins. They don't have they don't have that again, the narrative of not having the pushback. You could argue that these things are meaningful. I don't find them meaningful, but again, new management might come in and see, hey, that might be a meaningful thing to them, right? So I could see them going back and forth between Martin Jones and Ilya Samsonov here, which would be a shocking thing to say. If I told you that Joseph Woll was hurt, you'd be like, okay, well, how is Samsonov going to play the next 40 games, right? No, that's what you'd be saying at the beginning of the season. But no, what's happening right now is is he going to lose a spot to Martin Jones? Not actually, but Martin Jones should not be getting any games, he will likely get these games, which is crazy to think about.
Well, you should be the way you should think before the season. You would have thought if Joseph Woll gets injured, the only way that Martin Jones is starting is on the latter half of back-to-backs.
Yes.
Right. It's not the case.
Exactly.
I don't think that should be the case either. I mean, like, did I like what I saw? Like, the results from Martin Jones on Tuesday were great. I thought he played well. I thought he made some huge saves, especially in the second. New York scored 2 in the second. He made 3 or 4 other big saves. In the first period, he had a huge save on Zibanejad as well. It was a cross ice pass that he was able to get like the poke in on him. But did I like what I saw? No. Not really.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of mistakes. I saw not very good movement. I saw Martin Jones, right? You have to protect him out there. You can't give up too much. You can't give up too much movement. But yeah, like we'll see.
But here's the thing: like we Martin Jones didn't play well, and we're like, like we're okay with him starting over Samsonov. That's scary to me. That's scary to me. Right?
Well, like not that he didn't play. He played well for him.
Yeah,
like I thought his results were good. But
he had flashes of not.
I don't think he's. Yeah. I just still don't think he's very good.
Fair.
I'm gonna be honest. But I mean, what's my opinion on Samsonov? I saw just way too many mistakes again against the Islanders. I mean, the goals that stood out. I can't remember which number. I know number 3 for sure stood out. It was a weird icing play. He didn't play it. Like, when you see that the Islanders player has the jump on your player, like they might wave it off. Like, you have to get out of your net and possibly play that puck. He didn't play it at all. So it goes through. Okay, whatever. Puck comes out up high, which I think, in my opinion, Matthew Nyes was over challenging down low on that one. He gave up that slot shot. Like, that's why the guy was so wide open on it. I think it was Palmieri.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. We're talking goaltending right now. The puck comes out. Samsonov also comes out. He continues to challenge, never gets his feet set, doesn't see around Austin. Austin Matthews was screening him a little bit, so you have to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But he's never set. He's never centered to that puck. And as a result, it ends up in the back of the net. It was just horribly played by him. Ben broke that one down really well. And then he also broke down, I think it was the first goal from the Islanders. I want to say it was a one-timer from Brock Nelson, who's been playing very well with Pierre Engvall. That line is clicking. And guess what? Who scored tonight? Palmieri again. So line's looking pretty darn good. Keep an eye on that one. But anyways, what happens? Samsonov goes down in that goal in the RVH. He stays in the RVH when he absolutely does not need to. A screen comes in front of him. He cannot see, obviously. And then the puck ends up in the back of the net. And it's like, geez, dude. So it's just small mistakes that he's making. Like, he's making way too many of them, too. And it's just constant. It's the same mistakes over and over again. So I don't know. That Islanders game, I don't think he played that well. And they won. Right? So, or no, they lost in an overtime.
In overtime, yeah. But felt like a win when JT got his 1,000 points. How do you feel about the team clearing the bench for that?
100%. I love it.
Okay.
I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
And I really wonder, like, people are saying, oh, that's the leafiest way that Tavares gets his 1,000th point. Like, they get it and then they lose. Would that be the leafiest way? I guess, like, heartbreak and they pull you in and then they obviously let you down. Or would the leafiest way be like it's a 6-1 game and then Tavares scores to make it 6-2 and that's his 1,000th, and then they have to. That'd be the worst case scenario.
That'd be brutal.
That'd be so bad. Could you imagine that? What would the Islanders fans do if it were to make it 6-2? Tavares scores with like 10 seconds left, and the Leafs clear the bench to celebrate.
They'd start celebrating. The Islanders fans would be cheering, like just jeering, I guess, or like just
they'd be throwing shit at them.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, like sarcastically cheering, I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
I don't think they'll ever even cheer in the slightest bit of joy with John Tavares.
It's crazy. Like, get over it. Build a bridge. Like, I saw people trying to say, like, it's weird. Honestly, at this point, it's just weird. It's weird. Like,
I don't know, something to cheer against.
I guess. Yeah. It's passionate.
I think the people that are like actually like still online being like John Tavares is a snake, blah blah blah. Like, even Did you see the video once he left?
Oh, the
my God,
Dear
it was
John one? That is the funny. That's what pisses me off the
a
most.
snake.
It's crazy. And I don't know who thought it'd be a
like
good
the
idea
people
to
still
that
doing
video.
that, I think, are just like doing it for clicks and attention.
For sure. I have a question for you about the 1,000th point. Do you care about the 1,000th point? Because
Yeah.
what's the difference between 999 and 1,000 and 1,000? Like, there's no difference to me. It's 1
The
point.
milestone turns one, like 3. How many
Round
digits
numbers are cool.
change? Yeah, like
I guess. Okay.
999.
Maybe I'm just being
It
like
just
an
doesn't
old man
feel
yells.
complete.
I'm just being an old man yells at cloud for it. I'm like, I'm happy for him. Obviously, it's to him an accomplishment, but like, maybe I'm just. I don't know.
How many other players have hit 1,000 points? I swear it's less than 100.
Maybe, but how many
The
players have
NHL's
hit
been
999? It's probably the same amount.
Yeah, and
that's just
it just looks stupid.
Fair enough.
1,000 is it's a milestone.
Yeah,
hit.
I get.
Like Mike Modano's at 1499. Do I discount him? No. Jason Spezza was 5 points off of something. I can't remember what number. 1,200? Maybe?
I can tell you.
We got to look that up. Anyways, to get back to the games. So to close off the Rangers game, like the scoreboard, in my opinion, was a lot bigger of a difference than the actual chances for and against. The Rangers did get a lot of chances against Martin Jones. And when you look at the expected goals numbers from ClearSight, it was like 3.91 for the Rangers, 3.54 for the Leafs. The Leafs went up big early, and they did get lucky, and they got some very good bounces in this one, i.e. the Connor Timmins goal, i.e. Austin Matthews' 6th goal. Like, he walks in, he takes a shot, it's blocked, but then it ends up perfectly right back onto his stick, open net. Okay, like, that's where the bounces going for the Leafs made that big difference, as well as they got some exceptional chances. And I'm going to show one of them, and I'm going to roast 2 of the Rangers players, because on that first goal, oh my God, if I was a Rangers fan, I would have lost my mind at that.
Notably, just speaking of the Rangers, and it might have to do with something that you're going to bring up here. Blake Wheeler has 922 points, so he's within 100.
922.
Yeah, he's within 88 of scoring his 1,000th point, and then also Jason Spezza has 955.
It was
995. Excuse me.
It was 995.
Yes.
See?
So I guess it does kind of sting.
Interesting.
Do you want to bring up the Rangers stuff now, or do you want to go into the?
No, let's close off like the rest of the games. Like, I think Ottawa wasn't as bad as what the expected goals numbers say. I think it was a really bad first period. Joseph Woll held them off. I think it's really funny that people are clipping that highlight of that huge save of his for like before he gives the puck away. That's just the biggest sigh of relief ever when you give the puck away and then you're able to make the save. And it's like, It doesn't feel like, oh, wow, like that was a good, it's like, oh boy, I got away with one there. But don't worry, he made like 9 other 10-bell backdoor saves, breakaway saves, wide open saves. He was lights out in this one. But the Leafs did get a ton of chances as well in that one. Don't be mistaken on that. The scoring chances for and against on natural stat trick, the Leafs actually had more. I think that tells you a little bit there too. And then lastly, in the Ottawa game, the lights went out and they did not blow it dead. The lights
crazy
went out with less than a minute left in the game. They just had to. I don't know who was responsible for that, but that was to not call that also. That was really, really weird. But yeah, was that Nashville game the best game of the year from the Leafs? Like the most complete effort?
I think that was the most wire-to-wire complete effort from this team.
Clobbered
this season. And of course, can have nice things. We'll get into it in a bit, but Joseph Woll, of course, gets hurt in that game. But
in Ottawa.
Was it in Ottawa? Why did I think it was Nashville? I'm losing my mind.
Samsonov started against Nashville.
All right, never mind. Sorry, I don't know why I'm losing my mind.
But
anyways,
Yeah. And then the Islanders game, again, like it was one of those start hot, get a power play goal. Actually, start hot. Never mind. Start hot. Ton of chances. Mitch Marner misses 2 breakaways. Draws a penalty on the second one and then gets an assist in the power play. But really, really up and down game in that one. But, you know, after the first period, like after the beginning of the second period, where after the Islanders scored to make it 3-1, we really did see the Leafs start to get gears in motion and play a better game there. But overall, out of a possible 8 points, the Leafs get 7 this week.
I will take that.
That's pretty damn good.
I will take that.
Like, they were banged up to the point that they were playing William Lagerson, I think is how you pronounce it. They're playing him second pairing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he got sick. So you couldn't even play him second. But now you had to go to Max Lajoie, who I don't think they're going to be playing very much anymore. He had a tough stretch. But, yeah, I'm happy with it. 7 points out of a possible 8. I know it wasn't, you didn't blow every single team out of the water, but you found a way. Like, you matched bad periods with good ones, and like you won some games in regulation too. Three regulation wins this week. It was more than what we had in like all of November.
And we're closing the gap in our division. We're still games. We have less games played than the teams in front of us. We're 1 point behind Florida, right? We're with 2 games in hand. We're 5 points behind Boston with 1 game in hand, right? It's very, very easy to catch up to
behind Boston.
4 points.
Yeah.
They have 40 points.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. They got a point tonight.
They got a point tonight. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
okay. So that means you have 3 games in hand or
2. They have.
Oh no.
We have 1 game in hand.
1 game in hand. Okay.
And we're 1 point behind. So, 5 points behind. Anyways, yeah. Listen, it's not like keep on chugging, keep on keeping on, as the kids would say.
Yeah. Top pairings look good. Top 6 looks good. The defense, that definitely needs some work. But
yeah, and honestly, you know what? I'm gonna use this to segue into our sponsor over at DraftKings, because you can bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbooks. I was just on DraftKings right now looking at Norris Awards, and I know this is a crazy, crazy one, but Morgan Riley being priced at 150-1 to win the Norris, I feel like that's kind of high right now. That's too long of odds if you consider, one, that he is around 14th in points for defensemen, and if he were to get 2 points over his next 2 games, he would be in the top 10 in points among defensemen. If you consider the amount of minutes he plays for this team, if you consider his role on this team, I think there's a chance. Obviously, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar having insane seasons right now, but I think there's a chance to make an argument that Morgan Riley could be one of the 3 at the end for Norris Awards. And you can find these odds courtesy of DraftKings. I'm not saying you should go out and bet it. I just think it's a little odd that he's with guys like Drew Doughty, Jake Sanderson, Brent Burns, Mackenzie Weegar, Shane Gostisbehere. Like, I think his chances of winning are probably higher than that. 151 feels long to me. Not betting advice, just an observation. So you can download the app today and use code THPN, and new customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW-YORK or text HOPE New York 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See draft DraftKings.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. I don't know. Morgan Riley for the Norris, is that a thing or no?
No. Next. No.
Just feels short to me. But anyways, I've placed worse bets. What do you want to get into next? You want to talk about Joseph Woll, I guess? Because I mean,
high ankle sprain.
For those who didn't see, high ankle sprain, injured in that Ottawa game. Leafs can't have nice things. Feels like we had a good goalie on our hands, and he gets hurt with the high ankle sprain, which is really scary because depending on the type and like how it's situated on his leg, like where I believe there's multiple ligaments in that the back of your ankle and around your ankle. Depending on which ligament it is, it could be a big issue. I don't know if you've ever experienced had experience with high ankle sprain, or if you know much about it. But Ben mentioned on Twitter it's going to be February.
Ben Cernick, who we had on as a guest before. He's on the Goalie Science podcast. Go on. Sorry. Had to introduce who he was.
Yeah. He mentioned that it'd be February earliest, and like watching a lot of football and knowing a little bit about football, usually these high ankle sprains have a very high risk of re-injury if not fully healed. So these players are usually out 4 to 6 weeks. That being a grade 2 high ankle sprain. Grade 3 could actually be like up to 3 months. So depending on the grade of the injury, it could be very, very not good stuff for the Leafs here, because if you do the math, 3 months from now, that's past the trade deadline. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how, I guess, they handle this situation here, because high ankle sprains are very, very, very finicky. Like there's a lot of being a goalie, I can imagine there's a lot of pressure on that ankle right there. So it's scary. I don't know. I can't remember the last time a goalie had a high ankle sprain.
No, there's been a lot. So
really?
Yeah. So this was from it's Mitch Marney on Twitter. They actually outlined like 4 different goalies that suffered high ankle sprains and their timeline of what they missed. It's actually a terrific tweet. And then like when you add it to what Ben said, it's pretty well in line. So it was Saros missed at least 4 to 6 weeks in 2022. He missed the playoffs. So his training that summer, he said, had to be a little bit different. He had to play the puck. He was working more on puck handling because he couldn't do anything. But he missed, I want to say, over 6 weeks. I don't know. But the season was over by that time. Anyways, Joey Decord, who now plays on Seattle, he missed at least 8 weeks in 2021. Dan Vladar missed 6 weeks in 2019. And then Robin Lehner missed 14 weeks in 2015. So, take a look at it, probably 6 to 10. Right?
Yeah. It again all depends on the grade of the strain.
Yeah.
If it's
you also have to think about this and what will happen. He will have to be playing through pain for like the rest of the season. It's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's I'm trying to find, like, I do know a couple I don't know them, but like I know of doctors on Twitter. One guy mentioned it could be a groin, but he was wrong about it. I'm just seeing if he had a follow up on it. I can't find it, but
nothing.
Yeah,
that's okay. 6 to 10 weeks, I would expect. Like around February is when he's going to return. To what condition is he going to return? I have a hard time believing the same as before. Pretty much, because it's a high ankle sprain.
And that leads me to my next question with the Joseph Woll injuries. What should the Leafs do if push comes to shove? Joseph Woll doesn't look like he's going to be ready to start. Like let's say he's ready let's say he's ready at the beginning of March, right? What should the Leafs do if our goaltending situation keeps on, like, I guess, letting us down? If Ilya Samsonov doesn't look the part he looked last year, if he continues his poor play throughout this year, regardless of Martin Jones, because I don't think you can rely on, even if Martin Jones looks good, I don't think you can rely on Martin Jones in a long time. The reason why I bring this up is because we had this exact same scenario last year, kind of inverse, where the worst goalie was hurt, but the better goalie ended up having to play too many games, which led to him getting hurt down the road. But we obviously had some goalie issues, and it felt like we probably at the time should have made a move for a goalie to get some more surety in our lineup there. And again, at the end of the road, we ended up having to start Joseph Woll, which again, not an issue. But in this scenario, at the end of the road, that means we're starting Martin Jones, right? That I'm not as comfortable with in the playoffs.
There's Dennis Hildeby too, but I will get into him in a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that Dennis Hildeby is ready to come in to play meaningful NHL games? So again, do you think that I guess put a percentage on what you think the Leafs trading for a goalie this year are?
Oh, like 20. Very low.
20%. Okay.
20%-ish. Here's my thing with Dennis Hildeby that I've had limited viewings. That's the issue. I'm trying to watch more of him before I actually put together like an analysis. But from the little bits that I've watched of him, he's an athletic freak. He's massive, but it seems like his reads aren't at an NHL level yet. However, in the AHL, he's been able to cover that with his freakish athletic ability and his size. He's massive. He takes up a ton of net, but he moves pretty well too. So there definitely is something there, and there is potential with Dennis Hildeby, and he's putting up terrific numbers over a good sample size too. However, like I'm seeing some plays where I'm like, I don't know why he played it like this. This was a misread here. But again, I have to watch way more of him to see. So like if he comes in and he plays, trying to think of a team that's not that good offensively. I don't know. Like if he plays in that Nashville game per se from Saturday, I think he would be fine. Right. But then if he's playing in like a more like Tampa Bay's power play, he'd get rinsed, in my opinion. But I have to watch more. I do have to watch more before I can say anything. But the potential seems to be there with him.
That's exciting to see. But I'm more worried and focused on this year.
Yeah. Obviously.
So I'm going to list off a couple goalies for you because I've just quickly scanned through the UFAs going into next year. And I'm honestly not impressed with the list. So I extended it to UFAs like expiring contracts this year and then expiring contracts the year after. So we can looking at some goalies where we might actually be able to get some term here and get some surety under belt because that second crop of players is actually kind of interesting. So based on the list right now, I don't see many intriguing names that are realistically on the move. We have guys like Cam Talbot, but I doubt he's getting moved from LA. LA is a contending team.
Oh, no, he's not getting moved this year. No.
Yeah, of course. He's a contending team. It doesn't make sense for the movement. Next guy I see is Peter Mrazek. I don't want anything to do with that guy again. We don't need to run that back. Then we got Ranta. We got
no, he's Ranta.
Yeah.
What's his save percentage now? 860, 859.
Right? Like I'm just sorting by games played here. We got Jonathan Quick, probably won't get moved. Casey DeSmith for Vancouver, probably won't get moved, right? So there's not a lot of room here for guys to get moved. A name I see that has like a decent save percentage is Kevin Lankinen, but not interested. And then the only other realistic guy I could see getting moved is Kaapo Kähkönen. But again, that's more so pedigree than anything else because he has had a couple stints where he's looked okay with the Minnesota Wild. So not interested in these guys, but there are
his numbers aren't very good right now, are they? Like no, I'm asking.
He's like an 894, 388 goals against average, 13 games, but he also plays on the San Jose Sharks. Which is
like I watched a little bit of San Jose and thought he looks okay-ish. Like
the one thing I'll say is that I don't know which games he played, but if he played one or two of those 10 goal against games where they got cratered, that will cook his save percentage for like the next 10 games. You know what I mean? Like that would need time to correct itself. So, but honestly, I don't even care about these guys because the next three guys are actually the guys I want to talk about a little bit more here. All three guys are on teams that are going to be likely out of the playoffs this year. Likely two of them will probably be in rebuild mode. Maybe one of them might be looking for a quick flip around. Two of them might be looking for a quick flip around next year. And I think both of these guys are likely to be, or two, at least one of these guys is for sure getting moved. Two of them might get moved, and all of them has like a small chance of getting moved here. We'll see what happens when it comes to that, though. So right now, the first guy I want to get into, we talked about him a bit, Dan Vladar for the Calgary Flames, right? He currently has this year's played 9 games. He has an .872 save percentage, has not looked good throughout the year. Is Dan Vladar, listen, the reason why I'm bringing him up is one, he has a connection with Brad Treliving. He's already gone out and acquired him once, right? The acquisition cost for him was, I believe it was a second or third round pick. I have to double check. It was a third round pick for Dan Vladar back in 2022. Brad Treliving's already gotten him once. Is that, I don't know if you've watched a lot of his game. I mentioned him in the offseason. He hasn't looked good this year.
Didn't look good last year.
Pardon?
Didn't look good last year.
Didn't look good last year. Makes $2.2 million for the next 2 years. I assume this is not a guy you're interested in.
Not really. No.
Okay.
But I will add but he added Nedeljkovic. That's the one outlier, I will say. However, if we still had John Elkin, which he's with the Penguins now he's with Duba Nation over there, the Duba sites. I think that they would have been more likely to go for Dan Vladar because he's one of those, he likes bigger goaltenders.
Okay.
But he has Nedeljkovic, who had a pretty good game tonight. I watched that one. Looks a lot better.
And honestly, Nedeljkovic, UFA this year, could be a guy on the list if Pittsburgh is not looking to be in the playoff race around that time, but doubt that will happen. Gonna skip over to the next guy. Name. Yeah. Huh. I doubt it's gonna happen though. I doubt it's gonna happen.
James Reimer is gonna be made available, but I do not want him at all.
I don't want him.
I think Alex Lyon's gonna be their backup moving forward because I've heard nothing but complaints from Red Wings Twitter about Reimer.
Fair enough. Next guy I want to get into here is Jake Allen. Jake Allen signed a contract this offseason or last year.
Though. So it's a lot of money.
He makes $3.8 for the next 2 years. I understand it's a cap, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are on Jake Allen here. I mean, he's had a good career, right? He seems like he's putting up respectable numbers, 900-ish save percentage over the last 4 years with Montreal on a not very good Montreal team. Would this be someone you're interested in?
No, I would say no because it's too much money. You have to pay Joseph Woll, right? Yep. You have to keep a certain cap efficiency.
Yep.
And because he's not going to be your starting goaltender, I think 3.8. Well, you're paying what? Let me back up here a second. So 2 more years. So it ends at the end of next year.
Correct.
So Woll is signed. Hold on. Woll is signed for this year and next year at $775. Is that correct?
Is it this year and next year? I think this is his last year, no?
Look that up. I'm guessing that's the issue.
No. Oh, you're right. Holy shit. I forgot about that. Yeah, he signed for next year.
So maybe 3.8. Like it's an increase in your other goaltender by $300K. You still need that stable extra guy. You can't go out next year and bargain bin $775 or 1.5 for a backup goaltender. That's a little bit risky. What the Penguins did was risky. It's kind of like I haven't watched enough of the Penguins. I haven't watched enough of Nedeljkovic this year, but he looked pretty good tonight. I was fairly impressed. I don't actually know what his numbers are this year.
And I think actually
2-2-1 with a 937, and I don't think that includes tonight. So not bad.
Well, now that you're talking me through, and I don't know why I thought Joseph Woll was a UFA or an RFA next year. No, we have one more year, and then he's still an RFA, which is awesome. Credit to Kyle Dubas for signing that contract. That was massive. Appreciate you helping us out on the way out here. But I actually am slowly. I didn't think I built this to lead to the last guy, but I kind of like Jake Allen now. So I actually wouldn't be opposed to getting Jake Allen. Now, with that context now in mind, considering next year's cap,
before I add, I don't know why I took such a big pause in this. Regarding Nedeljkovic, it has to be within the right system. It would take me a lot to be like, the issue is with saying yes to a goaltender is their style has to match your system. And it takes a lot to figure out a goaltender. You need at least 10 games to figure out what a goaltender is in terms of scouting them, right? Yeah. That's where it's good to kind of defer to people that know what they're talking about, that like follow a team, like goalie people that follow a team, so that they everyone knows what the numbers are, but then they're able to give you more context behind it because they've watched them game in and game out. So that's where it's a little bit different. It's like, have I watched 10 games of Jake Allen this year? I'm not going to lie. No, I haven't. He didn't even play tonight in the game I watched. Every Montreal game I've watched, it's been Montembeault. So like maybe on Jake Allen. Nedeljkovic is also a maybe because he didn't work out in Detroit. Why? His play style absolutely didn't. Well, they weren't that good when he was there, but his play style did not match their play style or their defensive style at all. And it fell apart. They traded for him. It did not work out. And he ended up having to take a pay cut and going to Pittsburgh. Like 3.5. He was 3.5 with the Red Wings, and then he had to sign 1.5 with the Penguins. So it's tricky. That's where I'm just going to do my best off of what I know of the goaltender. Like Jake Allen would be a maybe. Maybe depending on the acquisition price there.
Okay. So we got to know for
same thing. Maybe depending on who your third goaltender is, just in case that doesn't work out, right?
Yeah. So we got a no for who was it? Vladar. We got a maybe.
Straight no on that one.
We got a maybe for Jake Allen. The third guy I wanted to bring up for you, who is signed for this year and next year, is Charlie Lindgren on the Washington Capitals, signed for $1.1 million. I know he's your guy. Listen, the Washington Capitals, unfortunately, whether they like it or not, are married to Darcy Kemper. They signed him for the next 4 years at $5.25 million. They're not looking like to be in the best spot right now. It could come trade deadline time. They might be, unfortunately, out of a playoff spot, very unlikely to make it.
Why the hell are they not starting this guy more? Holy shit.
I don't know. I don't know, because he has a .931 save percentage in 10 games. So, and we know he looked good for the St. Louis Blues in the small stint that he had for them. We know. Yeah, I know this is your guy. I know this is a guy you like, but are you in on Lindgren? What are your thoughts?
That's a tough one because the Leafs right now, so you have to think about the situation that we're in, right? We're not dying for a goaltender. We're not desperate for a goaltender. You know who is desperate for the goaltender? Is New Jersey. You know who is desperate for a goaltender? Carolina. You know why? Or Carolina especially. I should have said them first. Carolina is last in the league in goaltending. Their goaltending numbers stink. They're terrible. Freddie Anderson's not coming back this year. I'm not confident at all that he's coming back. He has blood clots. Like, that's very unfortunate, but it's kind of a death sentence for your career. Like, look what happened with Chris Bosch. I know it's a different sport, and I'm not a doctor, but it sucks. It happens. Yeah. What can you do? So that's where, like, I wonder how much Lindgren would cost, the acquisition cost there. Like, he's cheap, $1.1 million for this year and next year. Playing some pretty good hockey. He hasn't been a starter ever. Barely ever been a backup. Last year was like his second full season, I would say. So how much would the Washington Capitals be looking for him? That to me is a really interesting question. And I think you should, in theory, be outbid by Carolina, because Carolina getting this level of goaltending is unacceptable.
Yeah. No,
but like, if it was like a low mid-round pick, sure, yeah, I'd do it. But like, to pay more for a guy, but then he could be your backup next year, that's a good one. How expensive could he be? So now you have me pondering. I'm not sure. I did not consider Charlie Lindgren. That's a good one.
At the very least, if you feel like Martin Jones isn't, I don't want to say as advertised for you, but if you feel like you're going to have to be going, like if you feel like you can't rely on Ilya Samsonov, if you feel like you don't want to rush back Joseph Woll because he's hurt, there's got to be someone there to play those games. And if you don't feel like Martin Jones is the guy, the only other option you have is to seek a trade. And why not get a guy with term? Why not take a stab at? Because right now the UFA goalies are terrible. I do not like. Go look at them on Cap Friendly. They're not friendly. They're not good. So you're gonna have to look for guys who have 1 to 2 years left of term. And I mean, hey, Lindgren is cheap. Maybe Washington says, hey, we don't want to part ways with him. But also at the same time, maybe Washington says, hey, we don't know what this guy is. He could be nothing to us. We could just go out and sign a goalie next year.
Hold on. Something actually happened a few days ago. A signing news. Do you know what it was?
I don't.
It's not big. I don't expect that you would. The Capitals signed Hunter Shepard, a goaltender, for 3 years. I don't know when, but in that contract, it switches from a 2-way to a 1-way, I believe. So, as you mentioned, you're paying Kemper a lot of money. You have Lindgren for this year and next. They should be playing him more, kind of showcase him a little bit for a trade there. But you have Hunter Shepard there too, who you're going to eventually want to play games in the NHL or give a chance at least.
Clay Stevenson, not Hunter Shepard. The only reason why
Hunter
I would know
Shepard
that
played this year was Clay Stevenson.
I'm up on Cap Friendly. Yeah.
There we are. My apologies. Wrong goaltender.
You're good.
But either way, do you want to? They have Hunter Shepard there. That's in case you didn't know. Like, do you want to get something out of Lindgren before you have this logjam issue next year? Huh. Makes you think.
Yeah, it's honestly, it seems like one of those sneaky good options that it wouldn't, you might not be able to pull it off now. You might have to pull it off in February and March, but
you will have to pull it off then.
Just because of how like they probably don't feel like they can trust maybe either of those guys right now. But listen, you have a 24-year-old goalie who you just extended for 3 years. You probably envision him being somewhat of a backup at some point. So the guy we're talking about here has a .930 save percentage in 13 games in the AHL. So
yeah,
it's something. It's something. Anyways, I just wanted to go into that just to see, I like to stay ahead of things. I like to always be ahead of the curve and try and predict instead of react. And so it's not easy to do, but I feel like there's something here for the Charlie Lindgren to the Leafs thing.
Maybe not the Leafs, but somewhere.
Somewhere.
Potential to, yeah, that's
in the worst case scenario where Joseph Woll could have like a risk of re-injury where it could have potentially affect his career.
Yeah. One other name, I don't know what's going to, he carries a big cap hit. I think Chris Driedger, look that name up.
He got hurt, I believe.
Was
it Grubauer who got hurt?
Uh-oh. Am I mentioning a guy that's hurt? Anyways, this was an under the radar, maybe even for next year thing. He tore his ACL in the World Championships after his first year with Seattle. But he had such a great short tenure with Florida.
Yeah.
In a small sample size that it Seattle gladly went out and gave him 3 by 3.5. Didn't play well with Seattle, and then tore his ACL, so he couldn't have a comeback season really. And then is now in the AHL, and Joey Daccord is getting games over him. I don't know. That would be. I don't think the money would work there, but it's just a name for maybe next year UFA to take a look out for.
He's a UFA.
Yeah,
UFA next year, and I swear, I saw somewhere they got called up. Maybe I'm losing my mind here. Yeah, he got called up. So
someone got injured. Huh. Anyways, that's not a name for trade deadline this year. It's a name for UFA next year to see that. That would be a fantastic third goalie option. But so yeah, I'm rooting for the guy. But yeah, with Florida, his last year in Florida, 14-6 record, 927 save percentage. The season before that, he got 11 starts and he had a 938. Just ripped it up somehow with Florida. And then with Seattle, had an 899. So it's a name to look out for next year for UFA. I'm not saying trade for him now, but yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. You want to touch on some fun, exciting prospect news?
Yes. So Easton, Cowan, and Fraser Minten officially made the World Junior squad for Team Canada. They're the first Leafs prospect to make Team Canada. Yeah, the first Leafs prospects to make Team Canada since 2018 when Ian Scott did it. The last skaters that were Leafs prospects to make the team was 2016 Travis Dermott and Mitch Marner. They lost in the quarters. The last Leafs prospect to make Team Canada and medal. Do you know who that is?
I saw it on Twitter. Can I say it's cheating?
Yeah.
Freddie the Goat.
Yeah, it was from Kevin Papetti. Our guy Kevin Papetti had that one. I thought that was a really funny one where he medaled in 2015, and clearly he was a big part of that one. But yeah, exciting news there. Fraser Minten didn't even have to play in the last U Sports game. I don't even know if he played in the first one. Seems like they really, really like him and going to be utilizing him a lot. Easton Cowan was part of that bubble kind of decision, did have to play both games and made it. So that's really, really awesome. He's young enough where he could be a returnee next year, or he can make the Leafs. Or
one or the other.
You know, that's a big ask, but
yeah,
I'm just bringing that up. Just bringing that up. So awesome for both of those guys. It was really it'll make the watching Team Canada games that much more interesting for Leafs fans. Not that you shouldn't have been watching any. You should have been watching anyways, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because the World Junior tournament's always a fun one. So yeah, that's the Leafs prospects news.
Love it. I love it. I'm excited that we actually finally get to watch someone play, because it's been a long time since I guess the Leafs have had someone on Team Canada where you're rooting for them.
Exactly.
To play. So
last point. We mentioned the third line. Mentioned them a few weeks in a row now. I want to bring up a scenario. The Leafs scored a power play goal against the Islanders. So you have out there, you have Tavares, you have Nylander, you have Matthews, you have Marner. So you're not playing the top two lines. You don't really want to play a jumbled line after that, such as maybe what you would do, like if it's on the fly. You throw it a jumbled line, then you get the lines worked back in. You have two lines that you can play. You have the third line and you have the fourth line. Keep in mind you are on the road. In UPS Arena or USB Arena or IED Arena or whatever, IUD Arena, whatever it's called. You're on the road. You have a power play goal. You're up. You play your third line. Axe Domi, Calle Arncroc, Nick Robertson. Or you can put out Ryan Reeves, David Kampf, and Noah Gregor. Which one do you think Sheldon Keefe put out there?
If I had to guess, it'd be the fourth line, and we almost got scored on.
Put out the fourth line. Who do you think Lane Lambert put out there?
Their first or second line.
They're about the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Brock Nelson, Pierre Engvall, and Kyle Palmieri. And they had the puck. The Leafs chipped it in. The Islanders brought it right back the other way. And they had the puck the whole time. They put a ton of pressure on. They got a great chance. I think it was a block or a sprawled out save that was the result. And the Islanders were able to build some momentum after a Leafs goal. Awesome. Love it. He was still doing that against the Rangers too. I do not understand it. That's not a shutdown line. Like,
that's a drinking game. Drink every time we score a goal. Take a shot. Like, actually take a shot if it's a Saturday. If you're on a Saturday, you want a little fun drinking game. Get you a little banged up. Drink every time Sheldon Keefe puts out the fourth line after we score a goal. If it's a high scoring game, you're gonna be drinking a lot.
Yep. I just found it frustrating that you're on the road. They have last change. They can see, so like someone was like to me, but you have to put out the fourth line eventually, right? Yeah, you do. But you put it out on the fly. Do you trust your third line that little that they couldn't play a shift after you scored? I thought that was just really, really weird.
And then just to kind of seal this off and just add one more thing here, it's like the chances are whoever plays on their penalty kill is probably on their third and fourth line. So they're automatically we're not going to play our first two lines because we just had them on the power play playing minutes. They're probably not going to play their third, fourth line because they've had those players out there. So it's like, who they're going to put out there. It's just crazy to me. Anyways.
And then on top of that, do you find it odd that they promoted Noah Gregor in the game against the Rangers? I know it was a mixed bag. It was 11-7, but they had to promote Noah Gregor. They promoted Noah Gregor and put him a ton with Matthews and Marner, but he's a fourth line guy and they hate the third line and they keep Noah Gregor on the fourth line.
I don't know. I think yes and no, because one, I think Noah Gregor's kind of, I don't want to say that he's earned it, but he's played well enough in his fourth line role. It feels like a 1 game spot where it's like, hey, you've been playing well on our fourth line. We'll give this to you. At the same time, maybe that, I honestly, the second I heard that it was likely that Knies was going to miss, I thought Yarncrook was going to instantly go. Yeah. But then again, knowing Sheldon Keefe, I think Yarncrook is the guy who he needs on the third line because he doesn't trust anyone else. So it's like a catch-22 for him, it feels like.
Yeah. Which it's also interesting because Sheldon Keefe is famous for the blender. Just blends shit up way, way too quick. We haven't seen that this year.
Yeah.
We had players out and you still tried to keep the lineup together as much as possible. So it's been interesting. Kudos to him on that part, at least. But playing the fourth line on the road after a goal 4, I don't get it. Dude.
It needs to stop. It needs to stop.
Try the third line. At least try it. They're not getting shelled. I know the deficiencies of the third line. I'm well aware of the deficiency of the third line. They don't forecheck very well. But they're not getting killed. They're not getting scored on that much. They can do something. They are capable players. They do generate scoring chances. So, anyways, that was my 2 cents on that.
No, fair enough.
We didn't get to the clips. We'll get to more clips next week.
We'll get them next week.
Yeah. Anyways, do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Thanks to everyone for listening. We're going to try to do more trade stuff soon. Bit slower this year, but I've gotten through some names, and I've got some names in my head, and I'm very excited to be discussing some of these players. But thanks everyone for listening.
Go Leafs, go.